Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good night's sleep.
Yes.
Beautiful sleep.
That's good. And welcome to the Sky Room. We can get all this energy in here. It's a beautiful morning, and we're going to do some more work on the breathing, on the relaxation, a little bit of breath holding, and again, focus on the pause and the exhalation. So we'll move a little bit into pranayama, and we'll do a little bit of normal, what you call the yoga exercises, the asana, the poses and the postures, just to work a little bit more on the entire body. So it's a nice little session we're going to do. But let's just start and sit up straight. You don't have to be too tense, but at least don't, if you're sitting like this in any situation in life or working at the desk, you're closing off the heart, and then the lungs are compressed, the diaphragm is pushed inward. So if you just open your body a little bit, not only do you feel more proud and ready to meet the world, but your whole breathing apparatus is more open, so it's easier to breathe. And also you'll have a stronger back when it's tough in the beginning to sit like this, but then after a while, then you have, you develop strength and stamina in the lower back, so it's really good for your pose. And you can sit like this in the diamond pose. You can sit in the normal cross-legged pose, which many people prefer because it's easy and it's stable. You can even put a little cushion behind you if you think it's difficult to sit like this. If you put a little cushion or put the mat like this, then it lifts you up a little bit. So just a little trick. And if you like, you can also sit in the half lotus, but always be careful with your knees. And all these poses, it doesn't matter how you sit as long as you're comfortable and sit up straight. But of course, when you go more and more into meditation and breathing exercises and want to sit still, that's the idea of these poses. Then you also want to work with the flexibility in the knees and in the flexor, in the hip bone, because when you sit in the full lotus pose like this, you're kind of in a stable, protected position. And the idea with breathing and with meditation is that when you sit still and the body's completely still, there is no feedback, there is no trigger, there is no disturbance to your mind from the body being unstable, then the mind can become still. So that's one of the reasons why there's a lot of focus on these exercises. But again, any position is fine. Any position is fine. And when you start to work on the half lotus or the lotus pose or the diamond pose, just sit for a few minutes. Don't sit 10, 15 minutes. It'll be too painful. So just, again, don't go beyond your limitations too fast. Just grow and get acquainted with your body, with all the new things you're doing. But let's start with a little bit of grounding and just breathing in through the nose. Exhaling through the nose or the mouth, that's up to you, what you feel most comfortable. But inhale always through the nose. The nose is for breathing, the mouth is for eating. And remember that there are 4 phases in breathing. I don't know if we can cut or we must cut, or we get cut in and out, but every time you go like this, it comes on camera, and it really breaks up the, I'm not trying to be rough, it really breaks up the disturbance. I know this is going more here, but can you either blow your nose or not do it, or...
That's fine. It's fine now.
Yeah, no, I don't need to be rude, but it's just every time it comes, it breaks the disturbance of the mind, but also of the filming.
You can always cut in between.
Yeah.
Because you have 2 angles.
Yeah, good. Also, sometimes you do it subconsciously, like this. You don't think about it. That's also why I'm saying it before we go into all the. Okay. I'll just start from not the beginning, but from this. Remember that the breathing has 4 phases. So the inhalation, the pause, the exhalation, and the pause. So in pranayama, there's a lot of focus on the different aspects of the breath, the inhalation, how the air tingles in the nostrils, comes up high in the nose, almost touches the brain, the front of the brain, flows into the lungs, into the bottom of the lungs, the rib cage expands, the diaphragm moves down. And then when you make the shift, how everything just passively collapses and the breath leaves the body after a slight pause. So you just have to find your own natural rhythm, find your own pace. And a lot of the breath work is about knowing your own capacity and how long time it takes to fill the lungs and how much you want to fill in to still be comfortable. And today we're going to learn the most basic and the most important of all breathing techniques. It's called Ujjayi breath or warrior breath. Some people also call it psychic breath because you conquer the mind and the fussing thoughts and all the things rambling around in your mind. So warrior breathing or Ujjayi is the most important and fundamental breath exercise for all other yoga breathing techniques and even for the yoga poses. And in fact, the old scriptures dictate that you should breathe like this when you walk, when you talk, when you eat, when you make love. So this is a very, very important way of breathing. And Ujjayi breathing is very simple. It's extremely powerful, useful, but it is very simple and everybody can do it. You just need to get the hang of it. And it is kind of a dry sound. And what you do is you make a small constriction in your throat and in the back here with the soft palate. And it's like you're trying to fog a mirror or a pair of glasses. So very easy. You make this kind of dry sound. It's like a hissing sound. And you can say ha or he, like H-E or H-A. And when you inhale, you go E-H, like you just try to visualize or form the words E-H. I describe all this in more detail in my book because it's rarely described in detail how you do this breathing and what sounds and how your vocal cords are supposed to be adjusted. This is very important because it should not be a tense vocal cord. It should not be like, obviously there should be no tension. But in the beginning you might tense a bit because you're not used to it, and that's fine. But after a while you get used to it and you can do it for hours and hours and days and you do not become strained and it becomes natural and subconscious. So this way of breathing, slight pause, turn the breath. Slight pause again, turn the breath. And so forth. Like waves of the ocean, soft hills rolling in the landscape. That's how your breathing should be. With those 4 phases. Inhale, slight pause, exhale, slight pause. And when you do the Ujjayi breathing, when you do this slight resistance, you gain the control of the flow of the air. You see? You feel this? Instead of just going, then you mandate, you control how much air you want in from constricting the vocal cords, how fast you want the air to enter your lungs, where you actually want it to go. Is it going in this side, that side? Is it going deep? Is it going up here? So it gives you tremendous control of your breath when you use Ujjayi breathing. And it's so simple yet so powerful. Especially when we're also talking about the ratios in pranayama, like we have done the 1-2, so inhale on, let's say, 4 seconds, exhale on 8 seconds. The exhale is much easier to control when we do the Ujjayi breathing. So that's one of the tricks, one of the secrets to breath control. So try to do that. We start with the 1-1, so inhale and exhale the same time, and then we'll move to 1-2 breathing, so you can kind of play with it. And sometimes when I teach, I do it through the mouth on the inhale, which is wrong, but it's just like to demonstrate the sound, because it's sometimes difficult to hear if it's a big group. With the nose, it's not so powerful. With the mouth, it would be something like this. This was already a great demonstration to why not to breathe with the mouth. I became so dry, I hardly can speak. I need to swallow some saliva now. When you exhale, it's fine. You have the moisture from your lungs. It's fine. It comes out. But that's another reason why you should always inhale with your nose. There's so many reasons to use the nose. Okay, so let's do the 1-1 and then the 1-2. So we start with the 1-1. Ratio 1-1. So 3 or 5, whatever seconds it is in, and the same amount of time out. See if we can get a good group like rhythm here. We can follow our own rhythm, but see if we can get the sound really going. Don't hold back, don't be shy that the neighbor is going, ooh, what is this sound? Just let go of your body and see how it feels. Excellent, I hear this soft sound. Then we move to the 1-2, so inhale on 1 and exhale on the double amount of time. So about 4 seconds inhale, 3 seconds inhale, and double exhale, 6 or 8 seconds. And make that slight pause in between inhale and exhale, and exhale and inhale. 1 to 2 seconds, just let the breath turn the direction, just let it shift. Beautiful. You feel this energy in the room, how it's just calming down? You all feel this? It's like... And some of you might feel sleepy because this breathing technique triggers the vagus nerve and you go straight into the relaxed part of your nervous system. So it really makes you relax instantly, maybe a bit sleepy almost. That's for a good reason, because you trigger that part of your nervous system that is called the rest and digest, the parasympathetic part that will help you regenerate your muscles, your brain, your digestion, your immune system. It's shutting down the adrenaline production, all the stress hormones, and just get you into that good mood, relaxed state of mind. Let's try now to add a little breath hold in between. So we move into the pranayama now in the sense that we add a pause between the inhale and exhale, and we make that pause longer. And there are many, many, many ways that you can do these ratios, and they have different benefits and different effects. But the original, the ancient pranayama was very strict, and it was very much about what diet you ate, that you were isolated, that you spent many, many hours a day, get up early in the morning, get up before sunrise, then at sunrise, and then 6 times a day. So very rigid and very strict for many reasons. But in this modern day and age, it's not easy for people with jobs and families and children to take out this time and to be that dedicated. So in Breathology, I try to bring in some of these very powerful and timeless techniques, combined with the peak performance from sports and from result-driven training, and then combined with the third element of modern science. So what is actually happening in the body? The ancient people had an incredible intuitive knowledge and understanding, but of course they couldn't measure inside the brain in the same way like we do now with MRI and PET scans. So that third element I also tried to bring in what's actually happening. We're triggering the vagus nerve. We're connecting with the heart. Oh, okay. We're improving the digestion. So all the time trying to put it in a context where people can understand why it's beneficial. And with that being said, I try to introduce pranayama now for people at an early stage, because if you should go through all the stages in yoga, the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, and go through all to the 8th limb, it would take many, many, many years. And as I always tell people, I like patience. There is no overnight quick fix cure. I absolutely do not believe in that. You have to put in time and effort, energy, blood, sweat, and tears. But we also don't have 6 or 12 years, all of us, to do this. So I would rather that people start, because others would argue you couldn't do pranayama this quickly, you need to start. But that again is why I'm always saying listen to your nervous system. Don't push yourself too much. When you do breath holding, don't push the envelope too much. Breath holding is wonderful. It's very healthy. It has so many benefits. But don't push the envelope too much from the beginning, because then it's counterproductive. You stress your nervous system and it kind of just locks. And this is the last thing we want. We want it to open. We want it to evolve. So with this pranayama, I also have put in my program different pranayama ratios, and you should absolutely just follow those when you're ready. So I've put weeks/month on each ratio, because it's up to people how fast they can progress. So you should really respect your own limits, and then of course limits are here to be broken, and we need to grow and evolve and flourish. But always stay respectful to your own limitations with your nervous system. So now we will do the pranayama in the sense that we will do the inhalation, then we'll do a pause, then we'll do an exhalation. And a very good way of measuring if you're going beyond your capacity is if you you need to gasp for air. As soon as you start to gasp for air, then you know you have gone beyond your capacity. So then you have to go back, make the ratio different, maybe make the breath hold shorter or the exhale shorter, so you put it all together. It's really incredible how you can recondition your nervous system with this training, but it should be done in a respectful way. So let's try to do 4 repetitions where you see what is a good rhythm for you. So instead of doing the 1-2 breathing, we will now do 1, then we will hold the breath for 2, and we will exhale for 2. So the inhale is, let's say, 5 seconds, then we hold the breath for 10 seconds and exhale for 10 seconds. And that's probably a good number for all of us. It's not too difficult, it's not too challenging, but it also depends on your lung volume and how fast you get your lungs filled with air. But if we say just a rough amount, you can use a clock. Some people do that, that's fine. If you're in bed as well, you can hear the ticking, tick, 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 or you can use your fingers. That's a good way. Heartbeat as well. Yeah, I use my heartbeat sometimes, and especially if you're calm and you know your heart and can connect with that. So that's a very good way of doing it as well. But some people are not so connected; they don't feel the heart or hear it, and also some people have a more unstable frequency or a rhythm that goes up and down. So when you don't have this stability, then it's better to use another way of measuring. But the heart is fine. It's actually very fine because it's always with you. But let's try to do this 1, 2, 2, and that's just an introduction to the pranayama for you. And then we can go in and do a little breath hold in the end after, so we get a complete series with 4 steps. The inhale, the pause, the exhale, and the pause, and we make it longer. Okay? So inhale in 5 seconds, more or less. Hold the breath for 10. And again, there's a little 1 second pause in between everything, right? We have this clear that you don't just go from inhale to exhale or to pause. You always make that transition soft. So 5, 10, 10 seconds. I can count, you can look in the beginning if you want, and we do it 4 times. So it will be like this. Very simple. Okay? So try that. 5, 10, 10. Everyone ready? We try to do it together. So we start. Inhale again. Wonderful. Hold the breath. And get ready to the exhale, 10 seconds. Inhale 5. Hold the breath for 10. And exhale. Last time, inhale 5. Hold the breath for 10, you're doing great. And slowly exhale on 10. Beautiful, beautiful, good, good. Whoa, I could feel you were like.
I was like sinking now, my neck was like wobbly.
Yeah, good. Now I could really feel this energy. So sometimes it's hard to stay focused, so you lose the counting, or you kind of have fall asleep, or you forget where you were with the, like, oh, what was I inhaling, exhaling? You can kind of drift into this. This happened to all of us. But with training, it becomes so natural that you don't have to sit and count. You just know kind of how long the pause is. But in the beginning, of course, it's good to count. And this was easy for all of us, right? It was not difficult. We were not gasping for air. But now imagine if we had done the pause 30 seconds.
Let's try.
Some of you might, yeah, but some of you might gasp. So you should find your own rhythm, and then. But now we try to introduce the breath hold as well. So then we have at least covered pranayama, introduced it, and then you can always know that there's much more ratios, and there's a lot of fun you can do with the ratios. I implement that a lot in my sport, and it's very common in swimming. You do like pyramid swimming, you breathe on 3, on 5, on 7, on 9, on 7, on 5, and 3. Like when you do the breath work, you kind of build up CO2 and get used to that. And you also do it. I do it a lot in running. So you use your steps, which is of course the best chronometer. So you have your steps, tuk, 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 tuk. So you maybe run 4 steps, then hold the pause 4, exhale 4. So I do a lot of that combined with the sports, because when the rhythm is in the body, it's very easy. And it's very powerful, because then you breathe in the right way. Again, like we talked about yesterday, the movement should always follow the breathing. It's not the breathing that should come running after the movement, right? Then you're doing it wrong. So the whole philosophy in breathology is breathing is king, everything follows. Life, thoughts, emotions, movements, everything follows the breath, right? So let's try now, again, same one, but this time we do 1, 2, 2, 1. Right? We don't do 10 seconds breath hold, we just do 5. So 5 seconds inhale, 10 seconds pause, 10 seconds exhale, 5 seconds pause. So empty lung exhale. It's called a kumbhak in pranayama, kumbhak, when you, the breath hold pause is kumbhak. You have the inhale, the kumbhak, and you have the exhale. So let's try that, and we'll do 4, and this takes a little bit of concentration. So I'll, again, count with my fingers, and I'll be speaking a little bit, but you just go into yourself and try to follow. And we do 4. Okay, so we do 1, 2, 2, 1. Everybody's with me on that? So 5 seconds, 10, 10, 5. Okay? So this is 30 seconds for a circle, for a round, right? And if you start to increase those, you quickly get to 1 minute, 2 minutes for one breath. Then you can see how you breathe slowly. If you do that, you know, that's normally a breath. Normally people breathe about 12, 15, 18 times a minute. We put that down to 1 minute or 2 breaths a minute that we're going to do now. It's completely shifting the mindset and the energy system and everything. Okay? Here we go. Get ready. Loosen up. Smile on your face. Open your all the chakras and all the energy. Just let it go. And we do the 1, 2, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. 5 seconds. Inhale. Good. 10 seconds. Breath hold. And turn the breath. Exhale. Beautiful. Hold your breath for 5. Slowly turn the breath and inhale. Hold your breath. Start the exhale. Hold the breath for 5. Turn and inhale. Hold the breath. Exhale. Hold the breath for 5. Start the inhale. Hold your breath. Exhale. Hold your breath. Last time, slowly start the inhale. hold your breath. Slowly start the exhale. Hold the breath. And I love this peaceful energy that I felt here, much stronger than the first one. You can start breathing again. Coming back to the room. Good. Did you feel a shift or a change in the room, in the energy?
I did. I couldn't feel my body from here down.
You could not feel it.
No, it was just natural. Just like all I was feeling is nice.
But you could feel it or you could not feel it?
No, I could feel the air, and that's what I was.
Oh, you could
concentrating
really
on.
feel that.
Yeah,
you could feel
but
your
I
body.
was like, it's like I didn't even have anything else. Like I had no hands, I had no legs. Just great.
Good, yeah.
That's nice.
But that's why I love also to work with people and get feedback and learn all the time. Life is a long learning process because when I tell people I work with energies, it's not like I work with chakras or colors. I see things and I feel things, especially when I teach people in the water, because you really have to understand when you communicate with them or when you do not say something, which is also communication, right? Maybe called respectful communication. So you put your intention and your energy there, but you don't disturb them. You don't touch them or say something because that would disturb the mindset they're in. So I love this interaction and this and getting people to perform and to grow. And when I say work with energy, some people I know they're a little bit skeptical, like, but we are all energy. It's all frequency and vibration and air and prana and you can also call it nervous signals or, potassium, where you can talk about the different biological mechanisms. But it's so once we just dial in and tune into that a little bit, listen to the heart and get a higher level of consciousness about this, it's easy to feel this shift in energy, I think. Like I really felt the difference from this one to the other one, that the first one you had to start and try, but also in this one we introduced the breath hold. And that sets the mind, it just stills the mind. That little 5-second pause, right, is not much in the end. But did anybody feel a little bit uncomfortable holding the breath, empty lungs? No? No. We did a passive exhale, which is just like a sigh. Right? We exhaled like that. But if you do a forced exhale, it will feel uncomfortable. And then you have to hold your breath. Then it's almost like the diaphragm starts to, and it starts to, you have so much negative pressure, it's a vacuum. So we also do that a lot in freediving, but that's kind of more extreme training, and it's really something should be done gently. But it's very powerful, of course, to do those techniques as well. And they're also in pranayama, the empty lung and all this training. But I'm glad we had a little introduction to this. So you can play around with that, and you have the book as well, the Breathology book, so you can look. There's a diagram, like a whole page showing all the different ratios I've put, and this is where we have this week, month. So when you feel ready, you progress to the next. Obviously, the first one, there's no breath hold, like we did now, and then we go into a little bit of breath hold, then we introduce it also after the exhale. So I've put it in a nice way, as I said before, to try to introduce it to people so they can use it. Instead of thinking that, pranayama is we have to sit for 6 hours a day, which is also true, or sit isolated in a monastery in a mountain or something. It's just not, it's good, but it's not just very realistic for many people, for most people. I'd rather that they do something than nothing. That's my philosophy.
It felt really nice to be in a group, doing as a group. It felt, we've had a lot of nice experiences already as a group. This was a particularly nice one.
Syncing the breath is something special, isn't it? When everybody syncs their breath in the same way. That's what
you can absolutely feel when you're in sync.
Right.
Sometimes it's a little bit off, and then sometimes it just, as a matter of fact, I'll do an exercise when we end today to see if we can find that sync, and you will have no doubts whether you like energies or work with it or not. You'll be like, whoa, okay, if we hit that in sync, you'll feel it. So we'll do that in the end of the session today. But thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this works in everyday life situations. The breath in you is also the breath in other people. That's how you communicate on a subconscious level. On a conscious level, if you work with it, but also on a subconscious level. So if you're agitated or nervous, it spreads to people. Also the odor and the stress hormones and everything emits out to people. But if you're more composed and relaxed, even though you're not happy or you know you're not in your best balance or in the best position in your life, but you're still working and conscious about what you send out, then that also spreads good energy, even though you're not like the most happy person in the world. But let's move a little bit further into opening again and stretching. So we also have some dynamic and some physics. So let's do a little bit of opening and stretching, right? So let's first take a big breath of air, and then we put our arms back and open the front of the chest. So we just go. Hold the breath for about 10-15 seconds and push up that chest. Yeah, push up that chest. Really open the chest. Oh, that's good. Bit of pressure on the heart, but it's a great stretch. And come back. Good. Now we will start sweating soon. It doesn't take many breaths. And then you're all fired up. Okay. Let's fill up there again, the lungs again, and then just without going too crazy, just slightly bend to one side. Hold the breath, of course. Feel those muscles stretching around the rib cage. Hold the breath in. Be gentle. And come back to the center slowly. And exhale. Okay. Really dig deep and feel that stretch all the way to your fingertips. Excellent. Excellent. Okay, let's fill up the lungs again. About 80% this time, not full, but maybe till here. And just halfway, just facing 90 degrees from your front. Hold the breath for about 10 seconds. Let those tendons and muscles release any built up anxiety or tension. And slowly rotate back. And the other side. And slowly and controlled, feel that spinal column, just everything on your vertebrae falling into place. Then to warm up this region, I want to introduce, some people call it fire breathing, but we want to do some more active breathing. This is also one of the kriyas. It's a cleansing exercise in yoga, and it's also part of pranayama, but not everything in yoga pranayama is about just making you relax. Just to make that clear, it's not just about being in that relaxed state. It's excellent to be there, boost your immune system, turn off the adrenaline, collect your mind, but there is also a balance in yoga and in life. It's also about the stress and the activation. As a matter of fact, Hans Selye, the man who coined the term stress, said that without stress there would be no life. So you can also use another term, maybe challenge or resistance. So that's how we grow. When we meet a challenge, we somehow figure it out and we pass that challenge, and then we grow as we have passed that. So we'll do some of the more heavy breathing as well, also to wake up a little bit. Now we've been really quiet and slow. So these exercises are great if you want to invigorate yourself. And they also cleanse the blood stream, they cleanse the organs, they cleanse the brain, and they cleanse the skin. They're really, really good. Like, that's also why it's a kriya. It's a cleansing exercise, but it's also like a training exercise. Okay, and there are two different ones I want to introduce. The first one is Kapalbhati, also called, I call it the brain cleanser, or cleaning your skull. It means shining skull in the original term in Sanskrit. It means shining skull, so you get shiny and light-headed, but also light in your mind. And it's a quite forceful breathing exercise, and you become very, very strong in your diaphragm. So this exercise is done with a passive inhale and a forceful exhale. So you should focus all your energy, like the size of a coin right here. Focus in this area, and then when you inhale, so the inhale is kind of passive. You don't do it like this. You just let the air come in, and then you. So the easiest way to, I love to give these illustrations of what it feels like, because that's the easiest way to get it, right? Instead of explaining complex things and nerves. And so it's just like blowing your nose. It's just like blowing your nose, like into a handkerchief. Right? Sometimes before you do that, you want to do it in the shirt or in a napkin or something, because something might come out. But that's just, it's all natural. But that's also why it's called shining skull. It raises the blood pressure, it gets the blood flowing in your brain, and it gets everything fired up, and you will feel the heat quickly. But the point is that you inhale, and then the exhale is forceful. But don't push everything in your shoulders and your back. Just focus the energy on this point. It's like a Zen Buddhism thing also. It's like putting all the energy here, like the hara, like in this chakra, right in this region. So put the energy here. So we can just do it a bit light in the beginning. So it's excellent. We follow the rhythm. Perfect. That's great. Okay, we stop again slowly. This is also like a marathon. It's really like something, when you do this 100 times, 500 times, 1,000 times, you really become strong and build flexibility and endurance in your diaphragm, meaning that when you breathe in your everyday life, you breathe better and more fully as well. But make sure that when you do this exhale, it goes like this. The biggest mistake I see is some people do like this. So when they push the air out, the stomach comes out. I even have seen yoga teachers do this. So when I was in India, they put a lot of, my guru, my teacher, put a lot of emphasis on this point, that you should raise and push up. It's like you're getting punched almost, if that makes sense, like a little punch.
I think also it's sending energy.
Oh yeah, it's raising the energy as well, up through the system.
You're not trying to root it down.
And it comes from the root chakra, from the lower point where we have all the reproductive organs, the testosterone, all this strong energy performing hormones, and it's true that all this here is lifted up. So it's also energizing in many ways. But it's also, when we go into chakras, which means like a spinning wheel, we have these energy channels or energy blocks, different places. You have seen this diagram maybe with colors, different colors like purple and green and blue and yellow. And there are different colors for different chakras and different opinions on that as well. But basically, that's something very interesting as well. In the book, in the Breathology book, if you check, there is a diagram or an illustration of the chakras. I made that one, of course. But to illustrate a point, compared to modern medicine, you see the chakras and the colors, and then you see the same body next to it, but with the anatomical organs inside. So the pineal gland and what you have here, and the heart, and what you have down this spine and this center of our body, and those correspond exactly with very, very important hormone-producing organs, and organs that are very, very vital for the body production. So that's what I said before. Thousands of years ago, they had a very strong intuitive sense, even more than we have today with the colors and with the shape and size, and their different chakras can look in many different ways. And they understood that once you unblock these tensions, whether it's in the diaphragm or it's in the throat because you're afraid of speaking, or in your mind, so you're timid and shy, they understood on a very high level that you need to unblock that. So whatever you want to call it, freeing the energy or opening chakras or opening tensions, or like you would say in your profession, maybe opening fascia or muscles that were tense, or tendons. Whatever you want to call it, it's about liberation. It's about opening and getting that energy to flow. And we all know that when it flows, we have incredible amounts of joy, and we can go on forever. And when they're blocked and we feel bad or somebody hurt us, the energy is so low. So you can work on raising that with these exercises. So let's try that again for about 1 minute. The shining skull, and then we move into the next one after that, which is a little bit more powerful. But let's try to do it together. So and pause, and try to just take an inhalation and hold your breath for about a minute. Just sit and enjoy that tingling sensation. Fingers are tingling, blood is rushing in your system. Keep that little smile on your face. Maybe feel the throbbing of the heart. Feel the energy in the room, how it's in you and around you. And slowly come back. So this is a very, very good way to waken up yourself and to do breath work, in the sense that you strengthen your lungs, your diaphragm. And all in all, a very good cleansing exercise. And you can also be more powerful and go faster, but do that with time. So you can go faster and stronger when you develop this feel for it and the stamina. Then we move to the next one. Now it's a bit fun. It's called Bhastrika, the bellows. And this is one of the most powerful exercises. You could call it like the big brother of the Kapalbhati. And here the inhalation and exhalation, they're both forceful. They're both with power. So it's not passive like the inhale here. Here we use force both ways. And there are different ways of explaining that, and different teachers and gurus will tell you different things. I'm just telling you what I was taught in India and how I see it, and also how I like to do the exercises. And this one, since it's more powerful, should also be done with care. And also, I like to do it when I move my arms. I'll show you, like a bellows. So also be careful, because you can yank so much on your shoulders that you actually damage yourself. I've done that a few times, just not a big damage, but a little tear in the muscle or something. So you should be really careful with that. But it is a wonderful exercise, and it looks like this. You take your arms up. I'll just show it now, and then we do it together. And this is a really easy exercise to follow, because we can look, or we can kind of hear and see the rhythm. So you go up, fill your lungs, and then you go. So it's almost like the martial arts. there are many comparisons to all this. So, and then the inhale is also active. And you kind of grab, that's how I like to do it. There are many ways of doing it. I like to kind of grab a ledge or an edge, and you kind of feel you grab something and you pull that down like a branch or something. Yeah. Get your fingers active. And go all the way down here. Yeah, so don't stop here. Just go all the way down, but don't go too fast. Like, don't really use all the force because you can hurt yourself. Okay? So let's try to do 5 together just to get the hang of it. And we go slow. Beautiful. Okay. So let's do 3 rounds of 12, and there will come snot and mucus flying out your nose, so just get ready. And it's back to what we also have talked about, this rhythm in your nose and your nostrils. So try to check how's your nose breathing doing. Mine is kind of equal. Yesterday this was much more dominating when we tested, but as I mentioned, it shifts usually every other hour. But with these exercises, you also can open the nostrils better because the little hairs in here will start to be activated and it will remove mucus and phlegm that's in here, so you'll open your nose. So instead of doing the neti pot, cleansing your sinuses with the saline water, which is fine, it's a great exercise, great way to cleanse and everything, get ready and get mucus out. But you can also do it with air. So I also like this natural approach again, like you like to use, you can use your heart for controlling the rhythm or for checking the rhythm, but you can also use air to cleanse. You don't need to put water, so that's a little point there as well. So let's do that 3 times 12 together, and then after the 3rd round, we just sit a little bit again, hold the breath for about a minute and just feel this tingling sensation. Because this is like a hyperventilation. So we will become a little bit dizzy or like tingle, like little ants crawling on the skin. And again, it's about, respecting your limits. Don't go too crazy. And if you feel really, really dizzy, just take a break and sit like this. And that's again back to the seated positions. Why, for example, the full lotus is so powerful and good because you're stable, you can't rock. So sometimes when you go into the pranayama and these exercises, you might even black out. It's not something many people talk about and you really have to go to the extreme. But if you like to go there and like to challenge yourself with time when you're ready, it's good to know that you can sit in these different positions for protection as well. So there are many, many interesting facets around why you sit in these positions and what it does to protect you. It's also something about how the energy flows and when you go into the different positions with your fingers and all these locks, root locks and all these different things. But
do you apply any bunda at that finish for you?
Any banda or? No, you can sit like this if you want. It's a nice little simple one, but to get the circulation going. But I'm also not an expert on these. I've been taught different ones. But this one is like the universal good one to just get the energy flowing and just to keep it circulating. If you want, you can put your tongue up in the soft palate as well, just the tip of the tongue. Just leave it there when we sit and rest for that minute or so, just to introduce little new things, okay, and see what's comfortable for you. But we're all ready to the 3 times 12, and then we sit. Okay, so. Okay. Okay, just a little pause here. Breathe normally. Okay, again, we inhale slowly, bring the arms up, and yeah, the heat is starting to come. this inner fire. Lungs opening up, chest is opening. Okay, last round. And after that we just sit for about a minute, hold our breath with a full lung. Come back slowly, just come back from whatever you were doing, whatever place, whatever sensation. Wasn't that nice? Any feedback, any journeys, any experiences? A little bit dizzy?
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
The breath holding part, it was a little dizzy.
Yeah, it is a little bit, you can become a bit dizzy and feel this. Sometimes you feel, and it's a very good way of describing it, I think, because you feel this kind of inner spiral is the best way. But it kind of, it doesn't move here and here, it just...
Yeah, I felt like it was like right in this area.
Here?
Like right in here.
Yeah.
I just... Whoa.
And sometimes, of course, in freediving, when you push yourself, you also feel this inner, like, you're maybe shaking because you go to samba, like you push yourself so much that you kind of shake. But you still sometimes feel that it's more inner shaking, like, but you kind of think you're okay. You look kind of okay, but inside you feel like, woo, you know that something is not right, but people are looking at it like, what's wrong? And you're like, but you feel this like inner, like, yeah, it's like a spiral, just like a treadmill.
Yeah.
And when I started freediving and the breath work many years ago, this was some of the stuff that really fascinated me, to travel out there. I've never done drugs or anything. That's fine if people like to do that, if they don't hurt other people, but can do what they want. But I never did drugs, but I've been high on life, like all my life, but also on these exercises. I've gone places, I've seen colors, I've experienced like these shakings, like wild stuff. Passed out left and right, obviously, in the beginning when I didn't know what I was doing, and I was standing up and doing things and bending backwards and holding my breath, and then, you know, crashed into a glass table and smashed all things up and took pictures of it, obviously. Oh, wow, this happened. And I have a scar here in my left shoulder, also still little souvenir. Yeah. So that's also why you should not do all this too much in water. Never hold your breath alone in water, because it's so powerful and it shifts, and you want to continue down that road, or you're like curious, but there is this is one of the most like important messages of breathwork, that you can travel so many places. I'm sure that's also why they said they could travel in time and do all this in the ancient yoga system, because you can do so many things. You can travel to probably past lives, to the future. You can be intuitive. You can absolutely, I have developed a lot of intuition, so I know that a lot of people tell me, I know what's going to happen. Usually bad things, like you have a feeling for that, so that's not so nice, but I still have very strong intuition. And that's something you can train. Probably you're born with some of it, but you can also train it, absolutely. And tune into other people's frequencies and their energy. And I think that one of the most important points about all this breath work is that it's a way, it's a pathway, it's a way of allowing yourself to travel to incredible places. Also inside yourself, obviously, your organs, your mind, and it makes sense. I mean, it's the thread of life. Breathing is the thread of life. So what else should be more powerful, right? But I've really had some experiences. I also describe a few in the book, so when you get to that, where I hold my breath for a long time, or how I see the light here now, and we talk about chakras again, lights and colors and what colors, they're really well described. As a matter of fact, a very good friend I have now in Denmark who's incredibly well versed in meditation. He's been for the last 12 or 14 years to India for the big meetings and yoga and meditation. He's really into all this. He reads more or less Sanskrit, which is incredible. But he read my book when we just became friends, because he had a book on meditation and I have the book on breathing, and he said, "But Steve, that's incredible," because he has read all this ancient literature. I mean, like 800 years old books or 600 years old books, because he can read all this Sanskrit. So like really, really ancient scriptures. And he said, "That thing you explained about when you did that long breath hold, it's exactly how I found it in an old scripture. The colors of the light, the yellow, the blue around it, the little lotus pellets, the way it was rotating like a sun, this kind of moon, like the intensity of the light, how it was bright on the edge, all that was very much like he had seen it before. So it's interesting that we can have and share these common experiences, I think. Just from breathing or holding our breath. This was during a long breath hold. But I think it allows you to go places you could never go if you didn't work on that. So that's why I think it's just such a pleasure to work with it personally, but also to have other people work with it and experience all these marvelous things. So breathwork is really, really, I mean, I'm just scratching the surface. I'm just an amateur, you know, what do I know? I'm just curious. We're all just beginners and learners in life, but scratching the surface, but there is so much beauty and so much fascinating stuff down there. So, yeah. But we've done a good introduction today. Pranayama, a little bit of stretching, opening the chest. And I think it's time that we end this session, and we do it like I said we would do, like this common energy exercise. It's a very common way to end, so there is nothing extraordinary like, whoa, this is wild to this one. I'm sure you're all familiar with Om, the sacred mantra, the sound, the mother of all sounds, Om or Aum. And this is a sound that's universal. They say in the scriptures that it's the sound of the universe, the sound of all, the mother of all sounds. But Om you recognize in so many other places, right? Amen, Om, it's the same. Amen, Om, Ah. In many words you find that same tonation, like Om. And Om is O-M, or spelled A-U-M. So we will take the A-U-M because what it does is it makes all your upper body and all the chakras vibrate. And if you don't believe in vibration or in any of this, you can just put your hands here and I'll demonstrate, right? So, is in the chest, right? It's in the chest, right?
Yeah.
Is it in the shoulder? No. Is it in the knee? No. It's here. Then we go, oh, where's that? Oh, where is it? Throat, exactly. Oh, it's right here. Oh, and where's the? In the head, yeah, in the face, in the cranium, the whole skull, the brain, everything vibrates. So when we do the Om, we also salute the whole body and we vibrate and we energize that on a microcellular level, right? The vibration in every little cell in the mitochondria starts to vibrate. So it's like a micro massage, I like to call it. It really is, like, right? And that's also why singing makes you so happy. You know, if you're in a good mood, you sing in the shower. It would never happen that you start singing if you're in a bad mood, unless you probably want to use the singing to get into a good mood, right?
Yeah.
So when we sing and woohoo, have all this, the energy is high and the vibration, the frequency is high. So we'll do 3 ohms and we'll see if we can hit that perfect energy and come in sync, like you talked about, and see if we can get the roof, you know, blown off this sky room, 10th floor, right? Now really, and sometimes you don't really hit it, and sometimes you hit it, you go like, wow, like, whoa. You know, I've done it so many times. Sometimes you don't really hit it, but sometimes you go like, you get high on like, whoa. So let's do that. And we don't have to, but this is also why I like to always end with a gratitude or a prayer. Not that it has to be religious. Yoga is also not religious, but paying, not praying, you can pray, but also paying gratitude to whatever around you, or that it's a beautiful day, to your health, to your family, your friends, the universe, God, whatever you want to do, but just be thankful. That's very, very important. Just for a little, few seconds. So always end your session like that. But when you do this, like the Namaste, I greet the light in you, that's also in me, this Indian greeting. Then you're also centered, you're here near the heart, everything is good. But we'll try to do 3 ohms like this. You don't have to put your hands here. So we do a big inhale, and we do the Aum, and we'll see if we can get those frequencies to hit each other, okay? So big, long inhale. And just with all your heart and all your energy. Good, so we try again. So just let the feeling and vibration around you transfer through your body. Just go in and find that frequency. See if you can just hang on and find that vibration. So we try again. So it's R-O-M. Okay. Beautiful. Last one. Give it all you have, all you love, all the energy inside. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you.